Having an iPhone in 2025 looks like flexing with the future in your hand, but behind the shiny glass is stress, bills, and pressure that never stops. Let's talk about why being an iPhone user sucks. The price of the Apple. Being an iPhone user already looked crazy from the very first step, buying one. The base model is already expensive, but most people don't even want that version. The storage is too small, and nobody wants to look like they went for the cheap iPhone. So you glance at the higher storage or Pro version, and suddenly the price shoots up. Now you're paying almost as much as a used car. And remember, this is for a phone that'll be called outdated by Apple in just 1 year. And unless you've got a pile of cash sitting around, you're not buying it outright. You're splitting it into monthly payments through Apple or your carrier. Sure, it feels smaller at first, but add it up, and it's like having a second rent bill that follows you every month. You never feel like you actually own the phone, because right when you're about to finish paying it off, Apple drops a new model with commercials everywhere, influencers unboxing it, and launch events that make your old phone feel like a fossil. The common thing about iPhone users is they never want to be left behind. Their old phone still works fine, but they feel like if they don't upgrade, they'll look outdated. It's like showing up to prom in last year's shoes. Nobody says anything, but you feel everyone's judging. And don't even get me started on trade-ins. On paper, they sound like a good deal. Give back your phone, pay a little extra, and get the new one. But when you really think about it, you just handed over something you already owned outright and then signed yourself up for another round of payments. Trade-ins feel like selling your car, only to buy it back for more money just because the paint job is new. A slightly sharper camera, a new shade of blue, or a battery that lasts 15 minutes longer than the old one. Apple sells it like a revolution, and people still line up outside stores at midnight as if the new phone's going to unlock a portal to another dimension. Meanwhile, you're dropping another $1,000 for what basically feels like a patch update in phone form. And then there's the so-called extras that aren't really extras at all. Your iPhone doesn't even come with a charger in the box anymore. Earbuds? Gotta buy them separate. A decent phone case so your $1,000 phone doesn't shatter the first time it slips out of your pocket? That's another $40 to $60 gone. By the time you add it all up, you've spent so much on accessories you might as well have bought another phone. No wonder people look at iPhone users like they're all millionaires. Storage is its own scam. The cheapest iPhone always comes with the smallest storage, like 64 gigabytes, which fills up the second you install TikTok and a couple of games. Then you're forced to pay way more upfront for the larger storage models, or subscribe to iCloud every month just to keep your photos. Either way, your wallet bleeds a little more. And depending on where you live, the price can get even nastier. In some countries, the same iPhone costs as much as 2 or 3 months of salary. Imagine saving up for that long just to buy something that slips out of your pocket and cracks on the sidewalk. Of course, you could try to stick with one model for years to save money, but eventually, your old iPhone will start misbehaving. Apps get heavier, the battery gives up quicker, and the camera starts looking like an itel a 60s model. No shade to my itel. But suddenly, your still working phone feels like it's running on hamster power, so you're back to square one. Either pay up for the new model or sit there watching everyone else flex theirs while your apps take 10 minutes just to open. It's almost like Apple whispers to your old phone, "Hey buddy, time to start glitching, there's a new model out now," and boom, your phones start being dramatic. Apple doesn't just sell phones, they sell you the illusion of enough. No matter what model you buy, the next one makes yours feel ancient overnight. Getting an iPhone is like getting into a toxic relationship. At first it's exciting, shiny, and perfect, until it gets more demanding, more expensive, and impossible to walk away from. No offense to anyone in a toxic relationship. Fragile and costly. Owning an iPhone is like carrying around a piece of fragile jewelry that also happens to be your lifeline. It looks shiny, sleek, and premium, but the moment it slips out of your hand, that beauty turns into one of the most expensive mistakes of your life. One wrong move and boom, you're looking at a screen that's cracked like a spider web. iPhone users protect their phones like how a loan shark protects his money. Always paranoid, always ready to snap if you even breathe near it. To be honest, I get why iPhone users act paranoid. Fixing one isn't as simple as handing it to a random repair guy on the street. Apple controls the whole game. Want an official Apple repair? Be ready to cough up hundreds. Sometimes fixing a cracked screen costs almost as much as buying a brand new iTel. And if you go third-party, they either can't get the right parts or your phone starts acting possessed. Apple makes sure you pay their price, whether you like it or not. It's not just screens either. Something as simple as replacing a battery is overpriced. Back glass cracked? That'll cost you an arm and a leg. It feels like every little problem with an iPhone comes with a bill that could ruin your weekend plans. And because of that, people don't use their iPhone freely. They carry it carefully, like it's a baby that can't touch the floor. That's why almost every iPhone you see is hidden inside a bulky case with a thick screen protector. People spend all that money for a slim, beautiful design, then immediately wrap it up like it's being shipped overseas. What's the point of paying for premium design if you can't even enjoy it without fearing one drop will destroy it? And the stress never really goes away. Every time you hear your phone slip off the couch or hit the floor, your heart drops faster than the phone itself. You pick it up, praying the screen is still intact, like you're gambling with your savings account. At this point, it's not just a device, it's a fragile investment that constantly reminds you how expensive your mistake could be. The crazy part? This isn't even the worst part of being an iPhone user. Keep going with me because it only gets wild from here. Battery and storage drama. Ask any iPhone user what their biggest headache is, and chances are the word battery will come up within the first 5 seconds. Apple keeps promising better battery life every time a new iPhone launches, but somehow it always ends the same way. You wake up, charge it to 100%, and by lunchtime, you're already hunting for the nearest outlet. A few months into owning the phone, the battery seems to drain twice as fast, and suddenly, you're the person carrying a charger everywhere like it's part of your survival kit. But battery isn't the only thing that keeps iPhone users frustrated. Storage might be even worse. Like we mentioned earlier, Apple loves selling their base models with the smallest storage possible. It doesn't take long before you're hit with the dreaded iCloud storage full pop-up. Or worse, you go to snap a once-in-a-lifetime photo and your phone just blocks you. Not enough storage. Imagine being in that moment and your $1,000 phone basically says, "Nah, pay first." And unlike some other brands that now ship their phones with huge storage, Apple still loves to sell you the bare minimum. Before long, you're forced into iCloud, which means another subscription draining your wallet every month. What should have been a one-time purchase turns into a never-ending bill, just so you can keep your photos, apps, and videos safe. It all creates a cycle that never ends. Your battery can't keep up with your daily life, your storage runs out faster than you expect, and Apple always has a solution, one that usually means spending more money. So you're either dragging your charger everywhere, deleting files you actually wanted to keep, or giving in and paying for yet another upgrade. An iPhone's weak battery and limited storage turn ownership into a tug of war. On one side is your bank account, on the other is your comfort, and whichever you pick, you're still paying the price. Living in Apple's prison. Buying an iPhone isn't just buying a phone, it's actually a marriage contract with Apple, whether you realize it or not. At first, everything feels smooth. iCloud keeps your photos safe, your iMessages sync perfectly across devices, and your AirPods connect in a snap. It feels like magic, until the day you try switching to something else. Then you realize it wasn't magic at all. It was a trap. Moving to a new iPhone isn't as smooth as Apple makes it sound. Your text messages don't always transfer right, some apps reset like you've never used them before, and your photos or files can get stuck in iCloud limbo unless you're paying for extra space. Thank goodness Apple aren't in charge of air. We'd all be paying a subscription just to breathe. To add to that, there's the ecosystem pressure. Once you buy an iPhone, Apple starts nudging you toward the rest of the family. Want fitness tracking? Better grab an Apple Watch. Want everything to sync? Time to get a MacBook. Need headphones? AirPods, obviously. None of these feel like massive purchases on their own, but stack them together, and you realize you've spent thousands just to build what looks like a perfect Apple setup. And when you even think about switching to another brand, you realize most of what you bought won't work the same way. That shiny Apple Watch? Basically useless without an iPhone. Those AirPods? They'll work with other phones, but not nearly as smoothly. It's like buying furniture that only fits in one house. Once you move, it all becomes junk. And Apple doesn't just trap you with devices. Even the small things are locked in. Charging cables? They're unique to Apple, and they cost way more than the generic ones you can grab anywhere else. You can't just walk into a random store and grab a cheap replacement. You either pay Apple's price or risk using something that might not even work right. Same goes for adapters, cases, and even repair parts. Apple designs the rules, and you don't get much say in them. From the outside, the Apple ecosystem looks clean, shiny, and polished, like the perfect neighborhood everyone wants to live in. But once you're inside, it starts to feel more like an expensive gated community you can't leave. Everything looks beautiful, but you're constantly reminded that you're paying for every little feature, and there's no easy way out. So while the ads sell it as seamless and connected, the truth is, it's seamless because Apple made sure you don't have other options. Once you step into Apple's world, you realize you're not really holding the keys. You're just paying rent in their very expensive cage. The social pressure. Having an iPhone in 2025 isn't just about making calls or scrolling Instagram. It's about the image tied to the device in your hand. Somewhere along the way, iPhone stopped being just a phone and turned into a status symbol. The newest model isn't just new tech, it's a way of proving you're up to date. And if you're holding on to an older iPhone, people don't just see a phone, they see you as behind. This hits hardest in schools, offices, and online spaces where everyone notices everything. Teenagers especially feel it. Pulling out a phone in class or at lunch isn't just about texting, it's a mini flex. If your iPhone is cracked, old, or simply not the latest model, you can feel eyes on you. And if you don't have an iPhone at all, some people will straight up look down on you, like you're out of touch or not on their level, even if your Android could run circles around their phone. It's not really about the technology. Most phones today can do the same things, sometimes even better, but the iPhone carries this unspoken badge of belonging. Blue text bubbles versus green text bubbles. That alone can split whole friend groups. iMessage chats kick out the one Android user just because the bubble turned green. It might sound petty, but ask anyone who's been left out of a group chat over their phone, and they'll tell you it stings more than you'd think. The pressure builds into a cycle. People don't upgrade because their phone stopped working. They upgrade because they don't want to look cheap or outdated. Friends joke, coworkers make comments, and social media influencers casually wave the newest iPhone around like it's no big deal. And that makes you feel like not upgrading is a big deal. Suddenly, you're spending money you don't have just to avoid being the odd one out. Even adults aren't immune. Walk into a work meeting with an older iPhone, and someone might make a comment about how it's time to upgrade. Nobody's thinking about your rent, your bills, or the fact that your phone still works fine. All they see is the model in your hand, and they use that to measure how current you are. It's shallow, but it's real. And the jokes don't always stop at light teasing. Some people get genuinely embarrassed, hiding their phone or avoiding pulling it out in public because they don't want to be judged. Imagine paying hundreds of dollars for a phone, only to feel like it isn't good enough because the camera has one less lens than the latest release. That's the twisted reality Apple's hype machine and social culture have built. So being an iPhone user isn't just about managing the costs, the storage, or the fragile glass. It's also about surviving the social game that comes with it. You're not just carrying a device, you're carrying people's opinions of you. And for a lot of people, that pressure feels heavier than the phone itself. And there you have it. All the reasons why being an iPhone user really sucks. The hype is strong, but the struggles are stronger. Thank you for watching Tough Life Chronicles. Please subscribe to our channel and maybe leave a like too. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one.